Can everybody hear me? Because I don't like using a mic in, or should I use a mic? Can you guys hear me in the back? Okay, naman. There? Good? Okay, hi, good morning everyone. So, nice to meet all of you. Hope to get to know a little of you and maybe a little better later also what you guys are working on. So, today I'm going to talk to you about pitching. So, I'm startup coach Artie. Just to give you a little background about myself. Just so you can turn off the lights in this area. So, I've been working in startups for more than 10 years, almost a decade already. The first startup I worked in was Chika.com. At the time, it wasn't even called startups yet. We were called .com companies. So now I guess it's called tech startups. And then I moved on to global startups, efficient, based in Malaysia and Taiwan. And then I moved back to Philippine startup in Guyana. And the last one is the startup called Bubbly, which is based in Singapore. That was funded by Sequoia Capital. So at that time, I was very happy. I thought, I made it. I've actually worked in a company that was funded by Silicon Valley. The same funders as Facebook, Oracle, Apple, and all that. But then one day, I got a call from a company and just said, tomorrow the company is gone. So there will be no company, there will be no money. Today's your last day, goodbye. And that's when I thought, wow, I don't want this to happen to me anymore. And that's why I joined the Plenary Institute last year. And when I joined, basically, it gave me the confidence and the knowledge to be able to get to that next step so that I could put up my own startup company. So if you're interested, talk to me later about Founder Institute. So I graduated last year, and then for the next batch, I was a mentor for that group. Now currently, I am with BrainSpark. So I am a consultant there. And basically what we do is we help startups. So we basically go out every day and look for startups to help. So, after this competition or after today, if you guys need help, feel free to approach us and hopefully it will help you out. Okay, so that's a little bit about me and what I've been doing for the past few years. But today we are going to talk about pitching. So guys, do you know what pitching is? Does everybody know what pitching means? So I came up with a simple definition of pitching, which is basically convincing someone about something. So remember guys, yesterday when you had lunch, who decided among your friends or your family where to have lunch? Or where to go out? I don't know, where to go to the mall or what movie to watch? Technically, you are already pitching something. So pitching is something as simple as that, but it can be something also that's a little bit more difficult. You guys know who this is? I didn't, I have to Google it. So apparently this is the one app, it's like Kate Mendoza, right? So she is Gaya Dog. Imagine the person who actually pitched to the network, hey, let's get this person who is like the dub smash queen, who is like the top viewed video or something. And we put her on TV, we put her on Bulaga. We put her in Bulaga and we pair her with someone. Who would have known that we come up with every Saturday, diba? So last week was I think 25 million tweets or something. So it can be something as hard as that. Pitching can be easy or hard. But today we will talk about how to pitch your startup, and the way to define it is convincing someone to get involved with your startup or your product. Now the reason I highlight words is because those are the two words that will keep on changing. For example, you want to convince an employee to take less money to work with your startup. Or you want to convince an investor to give you money for your startup. Or you want to convince judges to pick you in your startup. Or my personal favorite is to convince a co-founder to give up his life, his free time, and his world for you to join you in your startup. So it's like getting married, not the sex, right? So that is what how a co-founder would get involved in your startup. I hope you guys have co-founders. Does anybody here have no co-founders or doesn't have a co-founder yet? So everybody has a team. That's a requirement. Sorry. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about how is it ba talaga to pitch. So I'll break it down into three parts basically, which is parang the verbal or the face-to-face of pitching, and then number two, pitch deck. I don't know, are you guys required to build a pitch deck for the presentation, like PowerPoint. Okay, good. So I hope I can help you with that. And then lastly, we'll just talk about some overall tips and strategies of pitching. Okay? So, number one, let's focus on the verbal presentation of pitching. So for the verbal presentation of pitching, everybody has always these basic or generic tips about, face-to-face, whenever you're in front of an audience. It's basically they tell you, just be confident. But the problem is, not everybody is confident, not everybody can just go up on stage and ruin Taylor Swift's award, or call themselves, the next Nelson Mandela. Do you know that if you need a guide or an idol on how to be self-confident, Kanye is your guy. There's no bigger fan for Kanye than Kanye. So, basically what I'm saying is, you have to be confident. But since it doesn't come naturally to a lot of us, I have news for you, and I have very, very good news for you. I want to introduce you to someone. This person is Amy Kadi. You should really, really, really watch her video. It's on TED. Basically, so 27+ million views already. Amy Kadi has a video called Your Body Language Shapes Who You Are. She is a social scientist. So, I'd like to ask you, take a look around. Look at the different people around you and tell me, what does their body language say about them? So go around. Take a look around. So you might not know it, but there are little things in your body language that people will see or refer to and make judgments on. For example, a person who is more confident, who isn't stressed, will try to take up as much space. So look, the people who are parang nakamas arms, or medyo stretching pa, nakadequato, they're more confident. If you see people that are medyo crouched in their chairs, and the worst is parang like this, holding their necks. Holding your neck is actually a very weak position because you're actually protecting yourself, you feel defenseless. So that is the difference between a strong and a weak body language posture. So this is what she studies. So she came up with the idea that basically, she didn't come up with the idea, she based it on the idea that people make judgments based on our body language. And that our actions govern how other people think and feel about us. So when we go, let's say, when we try to ask someone out for a date, the way we ask it, the way our posture is and everything, will have an effect on how that goes, right? And how the result is. But she had one question. What if it was the other way around? What if our bodies can actually shape our minds? So that's what she wanted to answer. So remember when I told you guys that we have weak and strong and weak body language? I have a question. Whenever someone, a racer or marathoner passes the same finish line, what do they do? Yes, they raise their hands up. They raise their chins. Yes. Do you know, guys, that blind people will also do exactly the same thing, even if they've never seen someone else do it? So that's human and animal nature right there. So knowing that, she tried to make a study. She took 5 people and then she gave them what they call power poses. So a strong power pose and a weak power pose. So 5 people did a strong power pose, and then what she did was she took them and she measured their saliva to check their hormones. There are 2 hormones. There is the stress hormone, which is cortisol, and the confidence hormone, which is testosterone. So she took 5 people, they spit in a cup, she measured it, and then she put them in a room, and then she made them do either a strong power pose or a weak power pose. And then she measured again the saliva after to measure the hormones. So, do you guys know what happened? What happened was the people who did the power pose came out with less cortisol and higher testosterone, and those that did the weak power pose showed exactly the opposite. They showed more cortisol and less testosterone. So basically it says the people who did the power pose for 2 minutes were able to show more confidence. They actually were able to hack their mind into becoming more confident. And it went the other way around with the other side. So if you are doing a weak pose before whatever you need to do, you will become less confident and more stressed. So the summary here basically is that if you feel that you are not confident enough, before something, like let's say for pitching or whoever's going to pitch later tonight, I would suggest that all you need to do is take 2 minutes, do a power pose in a very secluded area probably, so that you don't look so weird. And then for 2 minutes, and then automatically your body will tell your mind to become more confident, and you will automatically be more confident. Okay? So basically, you should try to answer, can our actions change how we think and feel about ourselves? And the answer there was, you do not fake it till you make it. You actually fake it till you become it. Okay, guys? Sorry, yung audio, nakakonect. So, confidence is just one part kasi of pitching. But it's hard to show you or to tell you, explain what a good pitch and a bad pitch is unless I show you. So let me show you what a bad pitch is. And let's go on.
Are you ready? Are you ready for the ultimate tech startup competition? Let me hear it. Disrupt!
Hello, my name is Saeed Jabrani. I'm the CEO of Ametabug, and we're here to revolutionize the way you report bugs on your mobile platform.
Happen will revolutionize location-based mobile news aggregation as you know it. We're making the world a better place through Paxos algorithms for consensus protocols.
And we're making the world a better place through software-defined data centers for cloud computing.
A better place through canonical data models to communicate between endpoints. A better place through scalable, fault-tolerant distributed databases with ACID transactions.
And we are truly local mobile social.
And we're completely low.
And we're Molo-So.
Low-mo-so, bro.
We were low, but now we're Mo-Lo-So. No, Mo-So-Lo. No.
Okay, so the small story there is that actually if you try to Google bad pitch, it's actually hard to look for an example. So I actually had to cut this clip from Silicon Valley. Who doesn't watch Silicon Valley? You should be watching Silicon Valley, download it and watch it. So, that's a bad pitch. Why is it a bad pitch, guys? Tell me guys, why do you think it's a bad pitch? Why?
Buzzwords.
Very good, it's buzzwords. Why? Because they're all trying to change the world, make the world a better place. They want, they're revolutionary and all that. And it doesn't sound sincere anymore. I mean, it's good if you really want to do that, but sometimes when it comes out that way, it doesn't sound sincere. It's better not to say it. Another thing, they were using a lot of jargon and a lot of technical words, about Modo-So, Solo-Mo, things that people didn't really understand or really couldn't relate to. So that also made it kind of hard to understand or at least feel what the picture was trying to say or the startup was trying to say. Okay, so that is a bad pitch. Let me show you kind of a good pitch.
My name is Josh Light and I'm the CEO of Cupad, and we believe that we have the most effective form of advertising available on the market today. Our advertisements are exposed to customers for 2,220 seconds on average. Now what kind of advertising has that kind of exposure time? Ladies and gentlemen, we advertise on coffee cups. That's right, we put your brand in their hand. So how does coffee cup advertising work? Well, we got an advertisement. They pay us money. We produce paper coffee cups with their advertisement or brand on it. Then we give these coffee cups to coffee stands for free. Now, why does someone want to advertise on a coffee cup? Because it takes an individual 37 minutes to drink a cup of coffee on average. That person's going to have to look at the cup, drink, look at the cup, drink 20 times before it's fully consumed. And that person's going to move around like a mobile billboard, exposing that brand to at least 6 different individuals before that cup is drank. What's in it for Cupad? We make 13 cents of profit on every single cup that we distribute. And what's in it for the coffee stands? Well, when most people think about coffee stands, they think about Starbucks. But what about the 25,000 coffee stands in this nation that have plain white cups like this? They don't have the economies to scale to put their own brand on the cup. So we give them free cups. They save $15,000 a year by not buying cups. They like these savings so much, ladies and gentlemen, that approximately 80% of the stands that we've contacted have signed exclusivity agreements to distribute our cups. What kind of momentum have we started for this company? The last month alone, we got 58 coffee stands in California that signed exclusivity agreements with us to distribute our cups. If we continue to get 58 coffee stands every single month, for the next 12 months, we will have 700 coffee stands at the end of the year. With 700 coffee stands, we can move 8 million cups a month. And at 13-cent profit, 8 million cups a month, we're making over $1 million profit every single month. And we've already started this, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, our first customer, Overstock.com, will see their cups hit the California market in 21 days. Thank you very much.
Can anyone guess how long that was? 1 minute and 58 seconds. So it's actually less than 2 minutes. But in less than 2 minutes, he was able to explain what? The problem, his solution, his business model, his plans, his traction. In fact, if you forget everything he said, what's the one thing that you can remember? The revenue potential of what? $1 million per month. Forget everything else. Kahit yun lang. $1 million per month. So you kind of feel that he's up to something cool, right? So that's a good pitch. And you were able to relate to this. Why? What's the difference between a good pitch and a bad pitch? For me, the difference is between this guy and the other guy. A good pitch would always be able to tell a story. Parang you're talking to someone and that person is understanding and listening to your story. So that is one of the secrets of telling a good pitch. I'll give you an example, or let's do a short exercise. Guys, what is a movie that you watched a really long time ago? Shout out. Come on, guys. Old movies, come on, that you watched a long time ago. Star Wars. What else? What's older than Star Wars? Oh, sige, para ano, Back to the Future. Since you know it recently, it was on Facebook yesterday. Did everybody watch Back to the Future?
Yes.
Did anyone not watch Back to the Future? You should go watch it. Okay, so Back to the Future. Okay, let's pick a scene. Back to the Future 1. What happened in Back to the Future 1? Okay, in the first part, before Marty McFly, what happened to Doc? Why did Marty McFly get into the car and travel into the future?
So that he could see what happened to Doc.
What happened to Doc?
He didn't die.
No, but what happened to him that made him go? Does everybody know this scene? In the mall. In the mall, there are these terrorists that come in a van and everything. So what happened? They shot him, right? They shot Doc. Does everybody agree? They shot Doc? Okay. So, how old was that movie? Back to the Future. When did it come out? 85, really? Does everybody remember? Basta the 80s, diba? I don't know, the 80s or the 90s, I don't know. So, a really long time ago, let's just say it was about more than 10 years ago. Now I have a question. Would you remember, let's say, the 5th slide of a PowerPoint deck you saw 5 years ago? Or at least 10 years ago? No, right? So what's the difference? Why is it that you can remember movie scenes to the detail, but you can't remember a PowerPoint deck? The reason is it's because it's a story. And the reason is, if it's a story, it accesses the story side of the brain, which is more creative, has a longer term memory cycle, compared to the analytical side of the brain, which is what is turned on or is triggered every time you view a PowerPoint deck, an Excel sheet, or something that has data on it. So, if you're going to pitch, would you want to present, let's say, charts and numbers, or PowerPoint with lots of bullets, and people are going to be analytical and critical about it? That's the thing kasi with the analytical side of the brain, the first thing it does is it questions. Totoo ba to? Tama ba to? Is this correct? Is this accurate? So that's kind of not what you want to happen, right? What you want to happen is you want to tell a story so that people will just keep on accepting what you're saying. So I'll give you another example. Let's say today I'll be pitching to you that I have a startup that is building an exoskeleton that will allow you to increase your strength by 10 times, but then it also reduces your mass by 100 times. Will you believe me? Guys, you believe me? No? Who else? No? Okay. Did you have the same feeling when you heard about, or when you saw the trailer of Ant-Man?
Diba? It's the same concept. But did you question it or anything? You're like, oh, cool yun. Sige, I'll watch that. Right? So that's the difference between a story and a boring PowerPoint then. And that's why what you want to do. So if you're going to tell a story, how do you tell a good story? A good story will always have three parts. A beginning, a middle, and an end. And this is very important, guys. When you come up with a pitch, always remember that you have a beginning part, you have a middle part, and you have an end part. So while you're pitching, remember, oh, I'm done now with my beginning. I'm moving on to the middle. And then when you're in the middle, I'm done, I'm moving on to the end. Always remember that. My pet peeve, my biggest, I really hate this, is when pitchers always end their pitch with, okay, that's it, thank you. That is the worst way to end your pitch. Why? What is the last thing you said? That's it. So if you say, that's it, of course the judges or the investors will think, that's it. So you kind of want to end strong. You want to end with go back to your value proposition. What is it that you're trying to solve? What is it that you're trying to build? So that is your end. But you still have to come up with a good beginning and a good middle. So what are we going to talk about in the beginning and the middle and the end? This is my personal recommendation of how a story structure should go. So there you see your beginning, your middle, your end. So let's talk about the beginning first. Number one, make it personal. What does make it personal mean? Number one, compared to kanina, the bad pitches, diba? Try to make it more relatable. Something very easy to understand for whoever you are pitching to. Remember, not everybody's going to be a developer, not everybody's going to be tech. A lot of them won't be, especially investors. So you kind of have to make it understandable to them. For example, instead of saying something like real-time access to cloud storage for digital media, say something like, wouldn't you want to be able to access your family's home photos and videos anytime, anywhere, in a single click? That's making it more relatable and making it easier to understand. Now, the other thing I want to talk about in making things personal, and this is, this is my own recommendation, kasi this is what I look at when I talk to startups. I want to know why you are doing this. Why this, of all things? Why this app and not another app? Why this industry and not another industry? I want to understand that. Because if I don't understand it, then automatically I will not see how you can be successful. That's just me. But I'm thinking that, a lot of investors probably might think the same way. We kind of have to see the motivation and the dedication behind it. Why are you doing this? Okay, so that's keeping it personal. Number two, pain point problem. This is basically where you discuss what is it that you are trying to solve. What is your product trying to solve or make better? Number three, whose problem is it? This is your target market. Who are you selling the solution to? Now we go to the middle. Number one, what is your solution? What is it thing that you are selling? And number two, is it worth it? Will people actually pay for your product, or are you even selling your product? Remember, if you are not selling your product, if you're just building something for free, that's not a business, that's not a startup, that's just a hobby. And that's fine. But all I'm saying is that if you're going to put up a business or a tech startup, there has to be a business model. Maybe not in the start, not let's say for Instagram and Twitter, not at the start, but later on you kind of have to have a plan. Number three in the middle, and this is very, very important, this is your unfair advantage. Who knows what unfair advantage is? Oh, let's do it the other way around. Who doesn't know what unfair advantage is? What's the difference? What do you guys know? Okay. Anyways, so unfair advantage. Unfair advantage is what? Something that makes you better, that cannot be easily copied or bought. Okay? Together with me. Unfair advantage is something that makes you better, that cannot be easily copied or bought. If you're not saying it out loud, you should be writing it down. Something that cannot be easily, something that makes you better, that cannot be easily copied or bought. Now, we'll talk a little bit about that later, but if you do not have one, you have to have one before the end of the day. Okay, then, who are you? Basically, it's your team. Who are you? Who are the members of the team, and why are you the best guys to solve this problem or build this product? Number two, what is your current status? Kamusta na ba? I mean, have you built this company like for the past year? Have you been working on it for 3 years? Do you have current customers? And number three, lastly, what do you need? Why are you pitching? Guys, remember, if you are going to pitch, there is a reason why you're pitching. Are you asking for money? Are you trying to win the competition? Are you trying to get employees or co-founders? there has to be a reason. If you're pitching for no reason, you're just wasting your time and the time of the people you're pitching to. So, if you need something, remember to ask for it, okay? Because don't wait for them to ask you what do you need. You have to tell them what is it that you need. So, this is the story structure, and this kind of came up. This is something that I believe in, and I found out that there's a guy who really teaches and really embodies this stuff. Then this guy is my idol. So I'd like to introduce you to this guy. His name is Tyler Crowley. This guy is a startup storytelling genius. You guys know TechCrunch Disrupt? Who knows TechCrunch Disrupt? One of the biggest startup competitions there are in the world. This guy was the original coach for all the startups when it first started. It was actually called TechCrunch 50 at the time because they only got 50 startups. And I think they only had like 100 who signed up when it first started. Now, you know how many? More than 5,000 sign up for that event. And then they have to narrow it down to, from 5,000, they have to narrow it down to 1,500, then they have to narrow it down to 500, then to 100, and then they pick 50. Imagine, so they have to go through all those startups and all those pitches and all those pitch lists. He's also a coach for Launch Conference, which basically does the same thing. It's another big startup event. So, he has seen thousands and thousands of startup decks and all that. And he's coached a lot of pitches. So, he got kind of bored watching the startups on the stage because he already knew what they're going to say. So, you know what he did? He watched the audience. And that's when he learned so much more. Because when he started watching the audience, he realized that they behave in a very, very different way from what he originally thought about. Like number one, the 15-second rule. You guys know that you actually have only 15 seconds to capture the audience when you pitch later. 15 seconds. He has it down to a science that if you come out after lunch, kunyari nag-lunch break, and then you were the first to pitch after lunch break, you actually have 20 seconds. But if not, you only have 15 seconds. So ganun siya ka-accurate when he was studying it. So what does that say? You have to be able to capture your audience with something strong, with something dramatic in the first 15 seconds. Otherwise, you lose your audience, you lose your judges to whatever, to Facebook, Twitter, or their email, or text. Number two, he listened to the audience during the break, and he found out that the audience does not remember anything. They don't remember data. They will break it down into a soundbite. What does that mean? Oh, ano yung gusto mo? Ano yung type ng startup? Oh, I like the Uber for cats. Or I like the Airbnb for dogs. Ganon, they break it down into a soundbite. One word, I mean, it's a one-liner, sorry. So, they break it down to something like that. So, knowing that, what is it that you have to do? What you have to do is, you have to see that if you're pitching something, what is that one-liner going to be? Okay? If it's not what you want it to be, then you have to adjust your pitch so that you get the one-liner that you want. Okay? So, see, Tyler Crowley, like I said, has coached many startups. I'll give you an example of a startup which he coached that came out in Launch Conference. Also, I want you to write down the URL that comes out at the bottom. That's the YouTube account so that you can listen or watch other videos. No, not this one. The next slide. The next slide. Yeah. See, you write down the URL of the next slide so that you can see other videos. Okay.
Everybody, I'm Jeff Gosses. Thanks, Jason, for having us. All right. Welcome to One Drop. Meet Joanna. Joanna blacked out in her elevator office at work. She knocked herself out as her head hit the floor. She busted up her eye, her nose, her lip. She had a hypoglycemic incident after going for a run, and she could have died. Joanna had diabetes, and oftentimes she feels alone with her diabetes, although she's not alone. There are 30 million Americans with diabetes today. There are 70 million Americans with pre-diabetes today, and there are 345 million people worldwide with diabetes today. It's the most expensive healthcare problem we have today as a society. Diabetes is hard. Complex, it's difficult to manage, and it's expensive. It doesn't have to be. We decided to change all that. We took one of the most unloved products on the planet, the glucometer, and redesigned it from the ground up. We want you to feel a little less like you have a disease, and more like you're a total badass. Whether that's in calfskin, tote, or technical gray, we want you to feel like One Drop is part of your lifestyle. For something sophisticated, a walk in the park, or perhaps just a casual day hanging out at the coffee shop. Now, buying diabetes supplies is expensive, it's time-consuming, and it's a real pain in the ass. So we're going to ship you all of your supplies direct to your door in eco-friendly packaging each and every month with a little reminder that you are awesome. Now, in the startup world, you can't manage what you don't measure. And Joanna has to measure her diabetes just like everybody else. So in pink, she's testing for glucose. In blue, she's logging her medication. In green, her food. And in orange, her activity. Remember those colors. Here we're going to log in glucose movement. 163, nice. Now we're going to go to log some insulin. And let's see, 25, awesome. And we're going to leave a pro tip for everybody else on the OneDrop platform to remind them of that elevator incident we had. Be careful of insulin before a run. We're going to tag this post. Let's do happy, chill, and save that. And now we're going to log a food moment. And logging food is as simple as just taking a picture. You're going to photograph all your food, and boom, there's a delicious meal, capturing that right here at focus. Now, each of these moments make up a story of a person with diabetes each and every day. Those stories show up in the timeline at the top of the screen, and they're always there. But where it starts to get interesting is when you can start to compare each day's stories to the other day. Here, let's look at one day. We'll pick.
Okay, it's a long video. Watch it na lang later if you want. But basically, I hope you got the gist, right, of how he was pitching the story. Now I have a question. How was he able to capture the audience in the first 15 seconds? What happened? Joanna blacked out. Oh my God, ano nangyari kay Joanna? Tapos bigla, oh my God, she almost died. Diba? Hindi ko naman close si Joanna, pero sobrang akong concerned. So, what happened? Diba? You create drama, and that's how you try and capture the audience within the first 15 seconds. So, let's go to more tips. Basically, number one, try to use personas. The best way to ruin a story is to have no characters, right? Parang, one reason that a story will be ruined is if you are part of it when you pitch. So the best way to tell a story is to not include you or any of your team members at all. Make up personas. So you kind of have to do not use I, you, or we. Use characters and then try to make one character have the problem, one character has a solution, and then that's how you continue the story of your product. Number two, drama, like I mentioned earlier. That is basically how, number one, you capture the audience in the first 15 seconds, and number two, that is how you present your pain point or your problem. Okay? So, kunyari, I don't know, you're trying to solve traffic. So, si Joe goes to traffic every day. He spends like 4 hours on the road. It's taking a toll on his health. He recently got diagnosed with, I don't know, some sickness. Something like that. So you kind of, that's what you use drama for, to explain the problem. If you, let's say your problem is you want to solve traffic. Number three, if you have a time limit, let's say you were given 5 minutes, try to end early. Why? Because Tyler Crowley, when he was listening to the audience, he realized that if there were startups that actually ended early, it showed that they knew their shit. They had their shit together so much that they didn't need to spend as much time as the others. So if you can, try to end early. Oh, that also works the other way around. If you're given 5 minutes and in 5 minutes you're not yet done, that also shows that, oh, these guys malabo. Parang they can't even explain what they're doing in 5 minutes. So try to end earlier than the time that's allotted to you. Number four, targeted personas. Medyo psych word ito. Let's say you guys are going to be pitching to judges, right? If you know who the judges are, then you kind of have an idea kunyari what they look like or where they came from, ano yung probinsya nila, may anak ba silang, if they have a daughter or a son, and you kind of put that into your story. Kunyari, so if you know that the judge is from Iloilo, you come up with the kunyari, oh, this is Joe. Joe is from Iloilo, but he moved to Manila. And now he has a problem with traffic, or something like that. Because if you kind of do that, you kind of get into the head of the judges, and parang they're like more interested in the story that you're telling them. Okay, number five, try to use small fractions rather than big numbers. Instead of saying 374,000 tourists all over the world, you say something like 1 out of 5 tourists have a problem with something like that. Or 3 out of 10 mothers, say something about that. So try to use small fractions because that's much easier to remember. In fact, try to remember the last PowerPoint presentation you saw, or try the last small fraction that you remember. So number 6, when you're pitching, try to talk slowly and in little chunks, as if you're talking to a senior citizen or a little child, or kind of how I'm doing it right now. That's how you should talk when you're pitching. Okay? So number 6. And my favorite, number 7, the wow moment. What is the wow moment? The wow moment is like this. When you present something to someone, or you're pitching something to someone, automatically that person will make assumptions based on what you're saying. Diba? So for example, I wanna solve traffic. Isipin ng tao, naku, mahirap yan or something. He'll make assumptions already. Siguro, it's gonna make an app or it's gonna make something. It may not be correct, but that person will make assumptions. So I'll give you an example. What if I was pitching to you Google search or a web search? Guys, I'm gonna build a web search. What are you assuming? Siguro gagawa siya ng web page. Siguro there's a search bar. And then he would input search terms, and then there's a button, and then I click, and then I'll get the search results, right? That's what you're assuming as a search, as I'm talking about a web search. But the wow moment is when you can provide something above and beyond what other people are assuming about what you are building. So for example, like I said, web search. But while you were typing the search results, the search terms, it was auto-completing it for you. Not only that, the search results were coming out. You didn't have to click on a button, and it was super fast. So those are things that are above and beyond what you thought they would do, right? And you're like, wow. So that's why it's called the wow moment. So if you can provide something like that in whatever you're building, try to do so, because that will be the highlight of your pitch, the wow moment. Okay? Oh, and if you don't have this yet, try to focus on this also, kasi parang this will be the one thing that they'll remember. So try to manufacture it. So kunyari, you already have a list of things, of features. Baka one of those things is the top one. Remove it from like the part where you explain it, and then parang just show it like a wow moment na lang. Highlight it in your pitch. Okay? So that is basically your storytelling tips for a pitch. Now I'll talk a little bit about elevator pitch, but this is for future reference. Who knows what elevator pitch is? An elevator pitch is basically, this is a Wikipedia definition of an elevator pitch. It's pretty boring, so let's just go to my definition. My definition is trying to convince someone of something during a short elevator ride. In fact, that's why it's called an elevator pitch. The reason it's called an elevator pitch is because what if, alam mo guys, I have an app that I know will really change the world. All I need to do is get 2 minutes with Bill Gates, and I know that he will support my idea. And then suddenly, I don't know, what if you're in the States and you're in the mall and you're in the elevator, and you enter the elevator, then what do you know? Bill Gates enters the elevator with you and it closes. So you have exactly what? 1 to 2 minutes from the floor you are in to, I don't know, the basement parking where he's probably going, to try and pitch it to him. So this is why it's called an elevator pitch, because it's that short amount of time that you have to try to say as much as you can. Don't worry, it's easy lang naman. There are 2 very, very essential parts of an elevator pitch, which is basically your problem and your solution. Fine, that's easy. But let's structure it a little bit. There are 4 rules for a good elevator pitch. Number 1, keep it concise. You don't know how long you have, right? You have about 1 to 2 minutes, probably. So number 2, just like an original pitch or the long kind of pitch, make it easy to understand and make it relatable. Something that's that they can get right away. Number 3, you have to show the business model or how it makes financial sense. Otherwise, you're not really pitching a business. You're pitching, I don't know, you're pitching Bill Gates like a donation or something, right? But if you're going to pitch a business or a company, you kind of have to show how you're going to make money. And number 4, it kind of has to be undeniable in the sense that show some facts, show some research or any experience that you may have. Don't just keep on throwing ideas. If somebody's getting pitched that, they want to know that my basis or my foundation, whatever it is that you're trying to tell them or pitch to them. So, okay. This is the 4 rules of an elevator pitch. Who knows Evernote? Evernote. Okay. Do you know the founder of Evernote, Phil Libin? I will show you an example of a good elevator pitch from Phil Libin.
Hi, I'm Phil Libin, the CEO of Evernote. Evernote is your extra point. Whenever anything important happens, you can put it into Evernote and always have it on hand when you need it. You can use Evernote with lots of devices that you currently have. We're working for Windows, with a Mac, using web browser, any phone, or any camera. Now, your memories take many different shapes. There's lots of stuff you want to remember. So you can use Evernote, for example, to take a picture of someone's business card, or take a picture of a whiteboard, or a white label that you want to remember. Or you can leave yourself a text note or a voice note. All this information goes up to the Evernote servers, where it's processed and indexed, letting you do things like search for all the text in your images, letting you search by location. The information is then synchronized back down to your client, so that it's always on hand, so you can always find what you need wherever you are. Evernote has 2 subscription levels. We have a free subscription and a premium subscription. Premium subscription is $5 a month, and you get virtually unlimited storage and all sorts of goodies. Thank you.
And that's Philip. He did that pitch or elevator pitch in exactly 1 minute. So it's even shorter than the other guy with the cups, right? So in 1 minute, he was able to explain his product, the problem he's trying to solve, the different business models. He said there's free and there's premium. And then he also talked about how it's doing already, basically. So that's a good elevator pitch. Okay lang, di ba? It's pretty good. Okay, let me show you an awesome one.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, Papa! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship it right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
So that is DollarShaveClub.com. Shave time, shave money. Okay, fine. It's not really an elevator pitch, it's an ad. But still, it's great, diba? So it's funny, informative, and you kind of got everything, right? You got the business model, what they're doing. Okay, I have a question. It's a good ad or it's a good pitch, but what do you guys think about the business? Is it a good business? Do you think $1 a month for razor blades delivered to your door? So in 2012, they made $4 million when they first started. The year after, they made 19 million, and then the year after that, 65 million, and this year they are going to end the year with more than 120 million for people who are paying $1 a month for razor blades to be sent to their door. So that is a great pitch, right? And a great business. Okay guys, so that is the first part, which is basically the face-to-face. Let's talk a little bit about your pitch deck or your PowerPoint presentation. So the great thing about the pitch deck, guys, is if you Google it, there are so many templates that you can, or guides that you can visit that can help you build a pitch deck. But me personally, I would like to get a guide from someone that, knows what he's doing. So this is Guy Kawasaki. He's a Silicon Valley marketing genius. This guy was part of the original Macintosh team in 1984. So he knows what he's talking about, and he's been there for a while. He's currently the chief evangelist of Canva. Are you familiar with Canva? It's another startup that's currently kind of blowing up right now. And this guy is also a speaker and a book writer. Since he has seen so many pitches, probably there's so many guys who pitch to him for money or for mentoring and all that, he came up with the 10-20-30 rule. Do you guys know the 10-20-30 rule? Does anybody know the 10-20-30 rule? Okay, I will show you the 10-20-30 rule.
Epidemic of venereal disease in the venture capital industry, I came up with the 10-20-30 rule. This is the 10-20-30 rule. You should have 10 slides in your PowerPoint pitch. 10, not 50. I don't care if you have curve jumping, paradigm shifting, P2P, Google, AdWords, social network, optimized SQL-based way to sell dog food online. 10 slides. That's all we can handle. Those 10 slides you should be able to give in 20 minutes. You may have a 1-hour meeting, but you're using a Windows laptop, it's going to take you 40 minutes to make it work with the projector. Right? 20 minutes. And the smallest font you should use is 30 points. You see 20, 14, and 12. You should use 30 points for two reasons. First, the kind of people you're pitching to looks like that. The second reason is, by having a 30-point font, you can put a lot less text. This forces you to actually know your presentation and just put the core of the text on your slide. If you need to put 8 points or 10-point fonts up there, it's because you don't know your material. If you start reading your material because you don't know your material, the audience is very quickly going to figure out that you are a bozo. They're going to say to themselves, this bozo is reading his slides. I can read faster than this bozo can speak. I will just read ahead. If you don't buy that 30 points is the right font size, I will give you an algorithm. Give you an algorithm. Find out who the oldest person is in the audience, divide his or her age by 2. That's your optimal font size. Okay? Unless you're pitching to 16-year-olds, don't use the 8-point font.
Okay, so that's the 10-20-30 rule. You know, it's funny, but I'm a Windows person and I've been using a Windows laptop for years. So one time I was doing a pitch and parang nag-crash yung PowerPoint right before the pitch. So I restarted it, and when I restarted it, nag-Windows update siya. Oh my God. So ever since then, that was in front of an Australian investor who came to the Philippines. Kaya nag-back na ako. So it's funny, but it's true, guys. So they can work with a projector. Okay. So that is the 10-20-30 rule. So this is Guy Kawasaki, like I said, and he wrote the book, The Art of the Start. There's two versions. There's the old version, The Art of the Start, and then there's this new version, The Art of the Start 2.0, which has some new technologies about cloud networking, social media, some other new stuff, some cool stuff. And the most important part is inside the book, there are the only 10 slides you need in a pitch, which we will talk about right now. Slide 1, that is your title slide. Basically, you should have your company name and title, address, email, phone. I can give you a copy if you want later so that you don't need to write it all down. Slide 2, your problem and opportunity slide. Guys, remember, number 1, it's the customer's problem, not yours. You can't keep saying, ay, kasi I have a problem with this. No. Talk about your customer's problem. Number 2, is it a problem or a pleasure? Because some companies, they don't really have a problem to solve, right? Like Instagram or games, they're actually trying to create entertainment. Number 3, how big of a problem is it? This shows how big is your target market's potential. In fact, you can show it using the TAM, SAM, and SOM. TAM, total addressable market versus the serviceable addressable market versus the share of market. Think about it as 3 circles. The big circle is the TAM, that is your whole market. The serviceable addressable market is a smaller circle inside the big one, which is the part of that market that you can target to or you can address to. And the share of market is the actual market that you are currently capture right now. It's a smaller circle inside the big circle. Okay, I'll show you an example later so it's easier. Number 3, your value proposition. How are you going to solve the problem? What is it that you are trying to build? And most importantly, does your solution is it actually the right way to solve the problem? Have you guys heard of the story of NASA spending 2 years and millions of dollars on trying to build a ball pen that would write in outer space? And what did the Russians do? They used a pencil. Okay guys, that story is not true, but the learning behind it is true. So the learning behind it is that you have to have the right solution to the problem. Number 4, slide 4, underlying magic. Basically, this is what are you building? What technology are you using to solve the problem? Because I'm hoping that you're building a tech startup. By the way, this is an app contest, so you should be. So, what technology are you building? Number 2, what is your secret sauce? What makes you different? This is your unfair advantage. So again, unfair advantage. What is it? Unfair advantage is something that makes you better, that cannot be easily copied or bought. Again, say it with me. Something that makes you better, that cannot be easily copied or bought. I want you to ingrain that in your minds. So that is your unfair advantage. What is an unfair advantage? Super close kami ni Ann Curtis. Like, super. So whatever I build, whatever app I build, I know she will tweet. So if she does that, then that's an unfair advantage. Again, ano pa? Tito ko si MVP. I could go to him and he will sell whatever, and that's good. Oh, fine, those are lucky breaks. But what's another unfair advantage? I have been working in the mobile industry for 10, 12 years. So I know everything there is about mobile. So I know that there's a problem and I know how to solve it. That is one example of an unfair advantage. What is another unfair advantage? You've been working on this technology for 5 years, which nobody else has been working on. Something like that. Those are good examples of an unfair advantage. Okay? Number 3, magic. Magic, one of the things I'd like to talk about magic is network effects. Are you familiar with network effects? Network effects means the more users that are using your product, the more useful it becomes. For example, LinkedIn. Kung dalawa lang tayo nasa LinkedIn, what's the point? Diba? I add you, you add me, yay! So, it's useless. But the more people using LinkedIn, the better. Kasi let's say you have a friend who I want to meet, but it's not my friend yet, I ask you to link us up. Diba? That's the whole concept of LinkedIn. My favorite example of network effects is Waze. Because in Waze, you know that it's traffic because somebody else is out there using the product who is in traffic also and is telling you not to pass there, right? But if you use Waze at what? Mga 3 a.m., 4 a.m. sometimes, there are not much users on the road, so it's not as useful as it is when it's on rush hour. So, what does that mean? In the apps that you are building, if you can find a way to incorporate network effects, meaning the more users that use your app, the better it is for everyone else, the better. The example ito is all those games of what's that? Like yung cafe, you build your cafe and all that. Diba parang in Facebook, and then parang, diba you see all your friends dun sa baba, and then what level they are already, and what stage or what points they are. So parang the more people or the more friends you see there, the more ginaganahan ka to play. So, maybe to pay also to get ahead. So that is network effects, that's your underlying magic. Number 5, business model. Guys, remember this. Business model is the flow of money from your customer's pocket to your pocket. So you have to think about every step of the way. Literally, pagkatanggal nila ng wallet nila, paglabas ng pera, saan napunta? Napunta sa bangko. Yung bangko na yun, pinadala niya to the other bank. That other bank gave it to you after they got a service fee or something. So you have to remember, or you have to look at it from the point A to point B so that you can compute your how much you're actually making after you pay all the expenses. And number 2, your business model has to be scalable. What is scalable? Guys, do you know the difference between growth and scalability? There's a difference, growth and scalability. I'll show you an example. Growth. Kunyari, you have a landscaping business. So you have a landscaping business, you have gardeners, you have a team and tools. Whenever there's a client that calls and wants a landscaping job, you send your gardeners. They go there, they do landscaping job, they come back. They call, another customer calls in, you send them again. So if you want to grow, how do you grow? You get more gardeners, right? You get more gardeners, you get more tools. So that is growth. But that's not scalable because if you want to keep growing, you want to keep hiring and spend more. So how do you make it more scalable? You build an app that basically allows you to connect all the freelance gardeners to all the people looking for landscaping jobs. And you just make a cut. Now, that's scalable. Why? Because dumami one side, dumami the other side, your costs don't increase technically, not by much, but you still make more money. And at the same time, you can launch it anywhere. You can go to another country, launch it here, launch it here, launch it here. So that's the difference between growth and scalability. 6th slide, go-to-market plan. How do you basically, it's your marketing plan. How will people find you? You guys are building an app. Nako, if you tell me you're building an app and you'll put it on the App Store, that's the worst thing that you can do because there are millions of apps in the App Store. How will people find you? How will you rise above all the noise of the Angry Birds and all the things out there, right? So it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to show that you do have a plan. At least it will show the investors, the judges, or whatever that you are actually thinking about this. Number 7, one of my favorites, competitive landscape. Guys, there's no such thing as no competitors, okay? However they are solving the problem now, that is your competitor. However they're doing it right now. It may not be tech, but that is your competitor. So you have to show your land. Also, whenever you talk about your competitors, the next thing you have to do is say why you are better. Say it with me. Whenever I talk about customers, the next thing you do is say why you are better. Okay? Say why you are better. Number 8, management team. So basically, this is your team. Later on, when you're a company already, you'll put your investors and advisors. Sorry, rush nila ako. So, number 9, financials and metrics. Forecasts are bullshit. Don't worry about it, but you have to have it. Why? Because it will show attitude. It will show masyado ba siyang pessimistic, masyado ba siyang optimistic. You're trying to capture 50% market share in the first 3 months. Hindi talaga eh. Wait lang, sorry. I have to finish it. It's important. So, okay. So, this is your metrics. income statement, mamaya na, 10 now and then what, so your current status, your traction, your plans, and what you need. But I have to show you the example kasi otherwise you won't get it. So this is the title slide. Bed and breakfast, book rooms with locals rather than hotels. 3 problems, and then the 3 solutions. Save money, make money in the share culture. And then this is basically a slide which shows market validation. Basically parang that there's actually a market out there and how big it is. And then this is guys, this is what I talked about, the TAM, the SAM, and the SOM. So that's your total addressable market, your serviceable addressable market, and your share of market. And then they show their product. Very, very easy how they show their product. You just have to search, you have to review, and you have to book. That's it. Business model, very, very simple also. 10% commission on each transaction. Their go-to-market strategy or marketing plan, which is basically they partnered with existing partners out there. They use Craigslist, they use events. Very, very important. They came up with a matrix for their competition. You should do this also. So up is affordable, down is expensive, right is online, left is offline. So they wanted to position themselves as affordable and online. So try to come up with something like this so that in one glance you could automatically see. Competitive advantage. Okay, I will probably skip, this one. So there are so many killer tips out there, but I have some very specific ones that I wanted to share with. Number 1, research your audience, know who you are pitching to. Because if you are pitching to someone who, let's say, already has a product that you're building, then baka they might steal your technology, or baka naman they don't need it, or they don't fund something like that. Number 2, prepare answer slides, and this is very important. I've actually seen this in a pitch to investors last week. After you pitch, people will have the same questions after your pitch. So you have 2 options. Number 1, either you incorporate those answers into the pitch, or you prepare slides that you show after you pitch. Kunyari, question and answer portion, di ba? And then they'll ask you questions. Show the slides that have that have those answers. Why? It'll show, wow, ang galing. He knows what question I was going to ask, and not only that, he has the answer to it already. It will show that you are very prepared and that you know your stuff, you know what you're talking about. So that's good. Number 3, use pictures more than words. Always. Less text, more pictures, more imagery. For example, this picture. For me, this picture says basically that this girl used to ride this horse. They're close, they're friends, but one day she fell, and then she broke her leg and she can't walk anymore. And the horse feels bad about it, but the girl's making the horse feel that it's okay. So that whole story with no words at all, right? In just one picture. So come up with more pictures and charts like this. Show traction. So if you already have traction, if you already have users or customers, try to show it because it's important that other people know that how well you are doing. Stand out, remember, try to find a way to either be funny or come up with something that will make people remember you, that wow moment. Because otherwise, how many are you? There are like, I don't know, 20 teams or something. How will the judges remember you? You have to find a way to stand out. Also, when you're pitching, try to remember you're just trying to get to the next stage. You are not trying to really win it all already. In this case, I think you're just trying to get to the next phase. And again, everything can screw up. Your PowerPoint hangs, your laptop dies, and you come here in front and you start throwing up. Everything bad can happen in the world, and there's only one thing that will save you, and that is a great product demo.
I've had my ups and downs, my fair share of bumpy roads and heavy winds. That's what made me what I am today. Now I stand here before you. What you see is a body crafted to perfection. A pair of legs engineered to defy the laws of physics, and a mindset to master the most epic of space.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day goes, only time. And who can say if you love as your heart shows, only time.
So this test was set up to demonstrate the stability and precision of Volvo dynamic steering. Basically, the product, his balls were on the line, diba? So that's how a great product demo can basically be the best pitch that you can ever have. So I will skip some other things, some great resources you can ask later, from mistakes. The one thing I do want to share with you is a quote that I personally believe in, guys. So pursue something so important that even if you fail, the world is a better place for it. Okay? So, one more thing. People always ask me why I do this, why I help startups and mentor and talk to startups. And the reason is that I believe in Filipinos. I believe in the country. I believe in all of you. I believe that the next biggest startup that will solve or the biggest problems in the world can easily come from this country as it is in Silicon Valley. I believe we have the same commitment, dedication, and skill set as anyone out there. I believe it so much that I want to have a photo with that person. So I want to have a groupie with you guys. Okay? So I will have a picture with you guys. So okay lang, we're almost done. Okay. Saan cover naman yung ano? May light yung ano. Thank you. Okay, everybody. Smile. Okay. So, thank you very much. If you have any other questions, just I'll be here till mga 2-3 o'clock. If you have any questions about pitching, if you want to pitch to me, please feel free to do so. Do we have a question and answer portion?
Yes, sir. Okay, if you have any other questions, so we'll get about 2 to 3 questions from the participants.
Pwede pa on yung ano? On yung slide ulit.
Please approach the microphones.
So you can email me, text me, tweet me, or whatever if you have any questions. Also, if you really have a startup that needs help, if you want to talk to me and BrainSpark, please contact us. Questions about pitching, guys? Or anything in general? Pitch.